The dplyr package adds a special operator called the pipe operator, which allows you to take the output from one function and pass it in to another function as input. So to create a pipe, you write % greater than %, which essentially makes a rightward pointing arrow. And what pipes allow you to do is basically chain several functions together in a sort of pipeline without having to wrap many different functions around each other, like nesting functions, which can end up getting pretty confusing if you're using a lot of functions on one another. So we'll just give a couple examples of how to use pipes, and that will give you a sense of why they're worth using. So we'll start by loading in some fake data here. So we have some predictions and some actual values. And we're going to use a pipe to help calculate the root mean squared error between these two values. So what we're doing is we're taking the actual values minus the predictions, we're squaring that, and then finding the mean. And then instead of wrapping this whole thing in another function, which would be the square root function, instead we're passing the result of this calculation with a pipe to the square root function. So essentially what the pipe is doing here is it's taking this entire thing, the result of this mean, and passing it as input here. So it's essentially as if we passed everything right here, but we didn't have to specifically do that because that's what the pipe does. So all we have to do is say pipe and then the next function, and this square root operates as if this entire thing was passed in. So let's just run that. We get a result here. Now, we could have done the exact same thing without the pipe by doing this. Like I said, we could have wrapped that entire thing inside of the square root, and that would produce the same result, but it can be easier and cleaner to use pipes because it makes more sense to do one thing and then the next thing and then the next thing instead of kind of thinking in terms of the last thing you want to do is the first thing you need to write. You see, in this case, the square root is the last operation we want to do, but if we're wrapping everything inside of nested functions, that means it's the first function name we have to write, and then everything that came before it had to be wrapped inside, and that's kind of opposite of the way that you kind of think of a pipeline of operations. So the pipes can both make things cleaner and make it easier to think about the flow of operations. So here's an example of a slightly more complicated pipeline we can make using pipes that will make it easier to see why using pipes is such an advantage over doing nested function calls. Some of the constructions in this are things we haven't learned yet that we will learn in the upcoming lessons, but I'll talk you through it and just show where the pipes are coming into play. And then we'll see how you would make this without using pipes, which will show why pipes are so much better. So we're just loading in the empty cars data set as our data. Then we're taking the data, we're piping the data in as input to this first function. This is basically just taking the row names and turning it into a column called model. Then we're piping that into filter. This is cutting the data set down to only cars with 4 cylinders. Then we're piping that into mutate. This is adding a new column that's showing the horsepower per 1,000 pounds of weight for the car. We're piping that into select. This is selecting a few variables of interest. We're going to look at the model, the MPG, horsepower, weight, and the new variable we just made with mutate. We're going to look at that too. Then we're piping this into arrange, which is allowing us to essentially sort the data frame in descending order by that variable that we made, horsepower per 1,000 pounds. So when you run this whole thing, it will process the data into this format and will give us a sense of which 4-cylinder cars tend to have the best or most horsepower per weight. Let's just run that. As we can see, among the 4-cylinder cars, it looks like this Lotus Europa has the most horsepower per weight. It's pretty light and it has over 100 horsepower. And a Porsche is pretty high up. So it looks like some of the sportier small cars are up toward the top probably. And now let's see how we would have done the same thing without using pipes if we just nested all of these functions together, which would mean we'd have to call arrange first, and then inside that would be nested the select, and inside that would be nested mutate, etc. all the way up. Let's see what that call looks like. It's on one very long line, so it won't actually even fit all on the screen at once. But here we're saying arrange the selection of the mutate of the filter of this, and we have to pass all of these arguments in with the commas and closing parentheses all in the right places, and it just becomes kind of a big mess if you're trying to pass in this many functions all in one giant nested call. So this illustrates why the pipe is so useful, because instead of having to do this kind of gigantic nested function call or saving different variables or splitting it out on multiple lines in some other way that would probably be messier, we get what's a fairly clean syntax here where each line has its own operation that's pretty easy to read what that line is doing. Another nice thing about the pipes in dplyr is that they do work with functions in base R, things that aren't a part of the tidyverse necessarily, so they can help streamline your code in base R as well. So that concludes our discussion of pipes. In the next lesson, we're going to go into the filter function in dplyr, which allows you to select specific rows or records based on criteria that you specify. So see you in the next lesson.